He's a legend, ladies and gentlemen. You see him, you know him, you love him. He might be drunk. I don't know. He was telling, Stephanie and Lauren and Donnie, he might be hammered today. I don't know. But Arky Shea, host of Outkick the Bets. You been tipping early, big boy?
You always got a tip. Come on, man. It's lunchtime where I'm at. It's lunchtime where you're at, too. Come on. Let's start early, brother.
I'm going to start at about 3:15. I got to do one more show. Hey, Arky, let me ask you a simple question. You ready?
Let's do it.
Ryan Clark said the Chiefs were broke a few weeks ago. The Chiefs haven't lost since Ryan Clark said they were broke. The Chiefs tonight, I think it's going to be a hell of a game, are -3 with an over-under at 52. Is this broke-ass team got a shot tonight?
I don't know, man. They are pretty limping into this game. I think they've, only won 6 straight games? That's not very good if you ask me. It's a pretty damaged team at this point. I don't know why Andy Reid's still considered the head coach there. But maybe you just let him play out the season and, maybe he doesn't make it to the tarmac like Lane Kiffin did in L.A. a few seasons ago. I think this game is obviously a very good spot for Kansas City. If you pay attention to Kansas City, you remember when they started 3-4 earlier this season, they had 17 turnovers in that stretch. Since then, during their 6-game winning streak, they have 6. So it's clearly about two things. One, it's about the fact that they have figured out how to minimize the turnovers. Also, a lot doesn't get discussed about how the fact that the Kansas City has basically a brand new offensive line. And so that takes a little bit of time to gel. And so when Ryan Clark said the team was broken, yeah, it kind of was, but it was also being spackled together in the last several weeks. And now, as you see, we get closer and closer to crunch time. The more and more games this team gets together, that defense looks great too. That offense is starting to click. Patrick Mahomes is making fewer mistakes. He's also having to feel less like he's got to control the game with every single snap. So I think Kansas City's in a great spot right now to probably be the number 1 seed going into the AFC tournament round or side of the bracket for the playoffs. But New England still sticks there. So Kansas City's in a great spot. I love Kansas City tonight -3. They're scoring a whole bunch of points when they need to. They got a good chance to beat obviously LA this week. They're in a better spot. And I'll tell you this: Brandon Staley against veteran coaches, isn't that great? Bill Belichick took him to the woodshed earlier in Los Angeles this year. John Harbaugh took him to the woodshed earlier this year. Mike Tomlin's the only guy that he has some success with, but we all know what a disaster Pittsburgh sort of roster is from week in and week out, so it's not hard to see how they got a win there. But for the most part, a rookie coach versus a veteran, really, really good coach like Andy Reid is, I feel like in this case, even at home, I got to trust the veteran coach in here. And I really like Kansas City in this game -3.
We're talking Sunday football. Arky Shea. Arky, what do you think a high-scoring game here? 52 is kind of a lot. What are your thoughts on the high scoring or the scoring in this game?
Yeah, 52 is a lot. I feel like Justin Herbert versus this defense for Kansas City isn't a great matchup. So if I'm going to go to the 52 tonight, I feel like I got to expect at least 20 points from them, right? And I just don't think I see it. They're a very good second-half team, too, offensively. But again, Justin Herbert going against this Kansas City defense who is in a rhythm. They are rolling right now. I don't know if I would trust the 52 at this point. I'm not playing it at all because I very easily could see it going one way or the other. And the toss-up I don't like as much for me. So I'll play the spread. I trust that a lot more. I really don't know how many points I expect in this one. I would lean under, but I don't know, man. I really don't know. Justin Herbert could get a little loose.
I don't know what happened. I know this, when you don't take the over, the deep state will cut you out. We weren't talking about the Clintons. We weren't talking about Biden. Hey, deep state, leave us the hell alone. It's just Dan and Arky having a chat about some ball games, wearing a bad hat. Jeez.
Yeah, we were talking about the left coast game, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think there's something there. All right. I put this game in there because I thought Urban Meyer had to win a couple of games to save his job. That obviously hasn't happened. But let's stay with the Texans at the Jaguars. Jaguars right now -3.5, under 40. If you get the 40, you win the over-under. Interesting game here. What do you see happening here under Darrell Bevell in the Jacksonville Jags?
Dan, the time has finally arrived to play the Jacksonville Jaguars on the spread. It is going to be a great, great, great day for the Jacksonville fans and for the team itself. Listen, Urban Meyer clearly was the problem with that franchise. There was just nothing good about him. There was no good spirit about him. At the very least, he seemed to be kind of the coach that barely Shad Khan was hanging on to just because he liked him. He gets rid of him finally after the latest report about Josh Lambo being kicked basically in the leg while he's stretching. And you sort of get where the momentum could be coming forward for Jacksonville. Now, Trevor Lawrence is interesting in this game because Trevor Lawrence has not thrown a touchdown pass since Halloween. Or he has what since Halloween? He has 9 touchdowns on the season. Just 9. And 3 of them happen to be in their first matchup against the Texans. So, this is a big-time good spot. If you play it now, forget about the COVID. You got to play this right now because it's probably going to go more and more into Jacksonville's favor because of this. Houston's not a very good team right now. They are missing all kinds of guys. They're trading guys. They're sitting guys. They are basically playing for the number 1 pick right now. And Jacksonville's got a little bit of swag and momentum about them because of now the loss of Urban Meyer. Remember what happened when John Gruden was let go by the Raiders? They ended up winning a couple of games in a row, including covering the very next week against the Denver Broncos. So I feel a similar vibe here, except for this team really, really hated Urban Meyer. So if there's a time to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's right now. So I would take Jacksonville. I'd probably buy it down to 3 just to be safe. But I don't even know if you need the safety at this point. I think they win by a touchdown this weekend, and they do it at home. And as soon as you can get to the prop for Trevor Lawrence touchdown passes, go to it, look for the over 1.5, and as long as it's not minus 175 juice, go ahead and take it. This is the game for him to show out just a little bit and breathe, and we finally made it, Dan, to the Jacksonville Jaguars winning section of the season.
And the Texans stink.
They are awful.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Wait a second. 39 and a half is a low number. Would you go up and over that? No, yes?
I would not go over that. I don't think this is a Jacksonville winning 35-20 kind of situation. I think this is them winning like a 24-10 kind of situation, 24-13. So if you're going to play it, I'd still lean the under. Jacksonville's still not great, even though I just praised them a little bit. I'm just giving them a little bit of love in a very nice spot. They still only have a couple of days before the game anyway, so it's not like they've had the entire week with that Urban.
No, I agree. It may take them a month and a half for both of those teams to get to 40, but who knows? All right, the Titans, who as a Colt fan, if the Colts can get in, I would love at some point to see the Titans, at least the way they're going right now. They're actually a favorite going into Pittsburgh. Big Ben's looked a little better, hasn't he, Arky?
Yes, so the thing about Big Ben is that he does not look very good in the first half of games. But if you get him down by 5 touchdowns, he's ready to play, and he looks like old Big Ben. So it's a very weird scenario with Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I don't think the Titans are going to get up by 5 touchdowns on the Steelers. So I think we're going to see a little bit more of a struggling Big Ben. That Titans defense is really, really stingy, and they're getting more and more and more healthy as we get toward the back end of the season. And that's bad news for other teams that are going to be on their schedule, because that defense is what's helped them together. Also, that running game. Despite the fact that Derrick Henry's been out, they're still the 3rd-ranked rushing defense in the league when it comes to yards per game. Pittsburgh's giving up, they're the 30th-ranked rushing defense in the league. That is sort of their Achilles heel. You saw it last week against Dalvin Cook coming back in that game. He just roasted them for 200-plus yards in that game. And I'm not saying Tennessee's going to go for that. I'm saying that's what their bread and butter is going to be this week, especially on the road. Look, the Titans are good. The Titans are good, and they're just trying to get another win or two before Derrick Henry comes back, and then they'll be borderline great and have a great chance to go deep into the playoffs and make it to the Super Bowl. So I love the Titans in this situation, -1.5. I think the Titans go on the road and they win, and they probably win by a full touchdown, maybe even a little bit more. Mike Vrabel is underrated as a really good coach in this league. And he's really good against the spread. He's really good as a small favorite. He's great as an underdog. And he's close to an underdog in this one. And that's why I think I like the Titans here in this situation, -1.5. And I don't feel like I'd question it. Again, the only thing that gives me pause this week is waiting for all these COVID tests to come out negative. So, again, it turned out to be this week wilder than most. Maybe wait a minute or two. See if you get to Sunday and the number can stay the same if you're that worried about it. But I don't think the number is going to get much better for you than 1.5 right now. So I'd go ahead and take the Titans right now. And as a prop bet right now, you can get on FanDuel another one I like. The Titans to lead at halftime. That's -108, I think, the last time I saw on FanDuel. The Titans money line at the half. The Titans lead the half, I think, in 4 of the last 5 games. 3 of the last 5 games, and the Steelers have trailed in 4 of their last 4 games at the half. So a nice little prop play if you want to put a little extra action too.
Let me ask you another prop play. Is it, if Derrick Henry comes back, can you get a pretty good number on, and I know this is you're kind of throwing it to the wind, but can you get a decent number on the Titans winning the AFC? Derrick Henry not there, but maybe coming back, that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in fact, I think if you want it now, you can get a pretty good number. You can get really good value.
That's what I mean right now, yeah.
Yeah, because when Derrick Henry does come back, that will come back to earth just a little bit. So if you want to get it, I'm really confident in the Titans this weekend. So if you want that play right now for the Titans to win the AFC, I'd take it now before the Pittsburgh win, because the Titans are going to be at worst tied for second in the AFC when we get at the end of this weekend. And listen, the Titans can clinch the division with a win, and the Colts losing the night before to the Patriots, which I know you talked about earlier on the show. And if the Colts lose that game and the Titans win the next day, they're going to be your division champs and in anyway.
Hey, Arky, let me ask
Yes,
you
sir.
one last thing about Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Do gambling sites pay off when a guy gets hurt? Because I took Derrick Henry over 1,500 yards.
It really depends on who. It depends on if you get a really, 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 really nice book to do it. Usually, no. Usually they don't. That's just part of the risk.
I know the family that ran the gambling in Northwest Indiana didn't pay off on those kind of things. So hell, why would anybody do it now? All right, last game before I let you go, we got the Packers -5.5 against the Ravens. Does Lamar Jackson change the line if he plays? I know he's day-to-day.
Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson would change the line just a little bit, but the fact that the Packers are getting 5.5 on the road, or giving 5.5 on the road, is wild, right? So I don't know how much more you're going to get for Aaron Rodgers versus whoever decides to be the quarterback if Lamar Jackson can't play. And you're alluding to it right there with Lamar Jackson not practicing yesterday. They've already lost Marlon Humphrey for the year. The week before, he's gone with a torn pec. They lost 7 starters this season, 3 in the secondary to injuries that are going to keep them out for the rest of the year. The fact that John Harbaugh is keeping this team afloat and leading the division, he's got to get votes for Coach of the Year right now, because it just doesn't physically make sense that they can do this. Now, they're a little chilly right now. They even came back last week to cover the spread, even though they didn't beat Cleveland last week. Still a strong, tough, hard-nosed team, still fighting to the bitter end. I just don't know what you do in this situation to possibly warrant Baltimore to cover and to win the game. The Packers with Aaron Rodgers are 11-1 against the spread. In fact, Aaron Rodgers is like the fourth best quarterback currently going right now in terms of against the spread. He's like 57.5% against the spread, and there's like really only one guy that's a veteran, a big-time veteran, that's ahead of him, and that's Tom Brady. And the other guy, I mean, if you want to consider him, is Teddy Bridgewater, to be for example. But like Mac Jones is ahead of him, but he's only been starting for a year. But anyway, like Aaron Rodgers is the guy, and we've talked about this on this show, Dan. How do you not trust Aaron Rodgers in any situation, especially with this team? Look, I think they had a little bit of a letdown spot defensively against Chicago. They sort of have the whole "we own you," so maybe you didn't take Chicago nearly as seriously last week. I don't think it's indicative of how bad this could be for Green Bay to give up points and to be much closer. I think you still got a great defense in Green Bay that you're paying attention to. So if I'm going anywhere in this game, and I am, by the way, I'm going to take the 5.5 for Aaron Rodgers on the road. I just don't see any other way that Aaron Rodgers doesn't dice that secondary up to complete hell this weekend. So I think Aaron Rodgers goes, and he goes big this weekend against Baltimore, and this may be the beginning of the end for the Ravens this year.
Oh, strong. We got the Steelers without Roethlisberger. We got the Ravens at beginning of the end. What you got in the show today?
Well, we got this. We got some NBA talk. We got good games on the docket today to get to as well, because it's not all about just getting ready for the weekend. Plus, bowl season starts tomorrow, Dan Dakich.
Yeah!
Bowl season starts noon Eastern tomorrow. Excuse me, with the Bahamas Bowl. We're going to talk about that and more. I'm so pumped for bowl season. This is my favorite time of the year. Playoff excitement, enthusiasm going into the end of the season for the NFL. Bowl season, you can't not get jacked up for it, and I can't wait to do it again here with Kayla Canarum coming up on Outkick Bets, the show, coming up at 11:30 Central.
You're the best, my friend. Have a great show. Bowl season tomorrow. Toledo, Middle Tennessee State. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Check out
sir.
Outkick the Bets. Arky will get you covered. Bring a pen and paper. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother. Love you.